Hello, welcome, my dear friends, my dear parents, and my dear educators. Welcome for the day 4 session of Knowledge Capsule. Yes, it's a Thursday, it's fourth session in this week, and I heartily welcome each one of you for this session. And it's been a lovely journey with all of you, engaging you with so many aspects about early education. We are sharing aspects about literacy, numeracy, environment awareness, and let's check what are we discussing today in this Thursday session. Yes, I've shared my timetable with you. Thursday, we are sharing about 21st century pedagogy and 10 globally practiced methodologies. So this will be the topic that we will be discussing every Thursday. But even before we start discussing about the methodologies and need of a pedagogy, we shall try to know why we need this for 21st century. So it's very, very important for us, because I believe when you know the root cause, when you know the cause, when you know the problem only, it will be very, very easy for us to design a solution for that, understand a solution for that. So to know why we need these methodologies and pedagogies, we need to understand the shift that should happen in our perspective. So let me do the slide presentation. Let me take it further. And in today's presentation, we will be discussing about the shift that has to take place from in the mindset from 20th century to 21st century, because I've seen parents, even most of the parents come to me, and most of the teachers also don't have the awareness of what is 21st century. It's already 20 years the 21st century has begun, but there is no awareness created among educators and parents, who are two important stakeholders in the child's life. So it's very, very important for us to understand what was 20th century, because even today, most of the parents and educators think what's so different. Anyways, generation is changing, scenarios are changing, challenges are changing. We also coped up with our own challenges, and these children also will definitely cope up with their lives and challenges. No, my dear friends, let me tell you, the pace of change, the pace of change that happened in 20th century in our lives is completely different than the pace of the change that is happening now in 21st century. So please understand this very, very clearly, that the pace of the change that is happening is very, very, very massive. It's not fast, it's massive, and the child need to survive in this future. And we as early educators play a very, very important role, because the brain development happens more 90% by the age of 0 to 6 years. But today we shall know what was 20th century and what is 21st century, and how we can cope up with 21st century. So there are about 9 parameters that we can discuss and understand, wherein we need a shift of perspective. We need a shift of perspective from 20th century to 21st century. I want to really take it slow, because as I told you, awareness is very, very important. And once we become aware, then the solution, then the acceptance becomes very, very, very easy. So what was 20th century? When I say 20th century, you can just go back to your classroom. We can go back to our classrooms and remember what happened there, how we were a part of education system, how the education system was operating. But for today, in this discussion, let's confine the parameter to be curriculum and classroom. So what is the shift that need to happen in our curriculums and classroom practices from 20th century to the 21st century? So please, we'll use this parameter of curriculum and classroom and discuss some aspects about 20th century versus the shift that need to happen for 21st century. The first point is time-based. The education system was very, very much time-based in 20th century. If you can remember, we can all go back and remember that it was 30 minutes, one period. The teacher had to finish one assignment or one part of curriculum, her lesson plan or anything. the time played very important role. Everything was time bound. She had to deliver the deliverables, and we as students, we were supposed to manage the time during our assessments. Everything was time bound. So now what happens in 21st century, it is outcome based. Time is not proportional here. The outcome basis is relevant here for 21st century. That means that if your learning outcome in your class is to generate ideas, the child should be able to generate ideas, think out of box, then you cannot have 30 minutes as your parameter. You can finish it within 3 minutes. If you are efficient, if you know the ways and means, you can actually finish it within 3 minutes, but time is not proportional. Now I need to understand how well the child is able to give me the outcomes that I'm looking for, and give him its own time, or plan in a way that I can accommodate in 1 or 2 classes, wherein time should not be a boundary, a limitation. The next parameter is textbook driven. We all remember that the only source of information for us was textbooks, and we all depended on the textbooks immensely, that we got inside our textbooks. And if we were good to understand, some were even mugging from the page 1 till the last page and understand all the concepts there, then we would declare as toppers in our classrooms, or that was sufficient for us. And even for the teachers and even for the educators, parents, the textbook information was only relevant. Nobody went beyond anything from the textbook. Nobody went ahead and gave any information other than what is there in the textbook. And if we had any questions, the answer that I remember was, you will learn this in your next class or next standard, not next consecutive class, but next standard. Even if the answer was easy, relevant, the mindset of educators was, you will learn this in next class, that's 3rd standard or 4th standard. But now, no, my dear friends, I can do an entire different session on how research-driven education is most sorted for 21st century, wherein every teacher will have to do her research for that knowledge and information. Now, research, the advancement in research, every 6 months you are getting a new research and a new study and a new analysis. So we as educators must be very, very constantly seeking for what is the new ways, new methodologies, new paradigms, new examples, and we should bring it to our classrooms. Textbook should be the last thing that we must bank on. The textbook should serve only as a stimulus. When the child opens the book, it should only be a stimulus about all the various other things that you discussed in your classroom, various activities that you did around that concept in your classrooms. So please start doing research, gather information, use Google to the fullest. I think nothing better than Google could have happened to all we educators, wherein with one single press, a touch of button, you will get all the research, all the studies that's gone in globally from any corner of the world. You can know the research, and you can bring that processed knowledge and information to your classrooms. Now the textbooks were really limited. The information and knowledge in textbooks were so limited. It was not processed information. It was only information, but nobody processed and gave a review on that. So understand the importance of research in educators' life, and please go ahead and do yours. The next is passive learning versus active learning. That means we need to shift our mindsets from passive learning. Who was passive in 20th century classroom? Both teacher and kids. We were passive in our classrooms. Teacher was passive because her duty was only to deliver the concepts, deliver the deliverables in the classroom, wherein there was no active engagement from the child's end. And what was the role expected from the student? It was absolutely listening. So it was absolutely listening that was required from the child, and there was no active learning. When teacher and student communicate collaborate, exchange thoughts, ideas, activities. It was completely missing in 20th century. But what is required now is active learning. And who needs to be active? I believe the teacher need to be more active now, because we will be handling hyperactive kids in our classrooms. So to meet their expectation, to meet their energy levels, to meet their smartness, it is we who need to be first active. How can we become active? Acquiring more knowledge, acquiring more skills in our teaching, and become active, engage students, involve students, give more space and more opportunities for the child to participate in the classroom in your curriculum. So these are the three important aspects of the shift that need to happen in the mindsets of educators and parents. So we have 6 more important things which we will be discussing in the next segment. So please keep waiting and watching. We will summarize the entire discussion in the next session, because I cannot put up everything in one single video. Keep waiting for the next segment, wherein you will know 6 more elements that you need to shift your mindset from 20th century to 21st century. So with this, I take opportunity to welcome all of you to my upcoming webinar on Friday. Please register in the link. We shall be discussing how to prepare the coding brains for 21st century through Phonics program. It will be really, really interesting. Thousands and thousands of people have attended, and we have great results. So if you haven't registered yet for my webinar, please click on the link and see you in my live masterclass webinar on Friday. And let me now thank you for watching this video. Thank you for being with me. In this session, we shall try to know 6 more elements that needs a shift of mindset from 20th century to 21st century in the next session. I thank you so much for being here with me. And if you found this information useful, then please like, comment, and share. I need to take these informations to Roots of India for people, teachers, parents, kids struggling. We need to bring in this awareness. Imagine, my dear parents and friends, if this awareness is not created in our cities, then I don't know what rural people, how they are getting ready for 20th century. So please help me in this mission. Share it as much as possible. Please take it to rural parts of India and be a part of my mission. So with all these information, I wish each one of you a very, very happy learning. Tata, bye-bye. See you tomorrow with a new session.